Nice and sexy. Big. And hard.
Just like
And thick.
summer anime.
Welcome, one and all, to, what is this? Baku no Mamoru?
Yeah, I guess this is this is going to come out as a Baku no Mamoru. Once again, we are on the Tuesday Club. I'm Eric.
I'm DJ.
And we said, you know what we should do?
To be hip and current with the times.
Yeah, we should do a rundown of several of the summer anime offerings and give our hot takes for what's going to come out.
See what the good Lord above Weeb has given us this to partake of this season.
Are you always
This bountiful harvest.
You're always crying that we're not doing a little opening banter. Do you have any good opening banter bits that the writers have given you this day?
Of course not.
Great, let's go right in. DJ, you have a list of animes, and I watched, I think, everything on that list.
All right. Well,
Do you just want to start and give like a 1 or 2 minute opinion on the shows?
Sure thing. So we're starting off our list is Are You Lost? This little gem right here is about, what was it, 4 high school girls that gets basically castawayed.
Yeah, it's Gilligan's Island, but high school girls in Japan.
Well, they're not in Japan. They're from Japan.
Yeah, okay. Well, that remains to be seen, I guess. Tiger sharks, we'll see.
Yeah, this show's weird.
It's we should also say this is one of those shows that's a half show, like it's a 12
Yeah, it's like 4 minutes. Oh no, this one is a 12-minute. Yeah,
it's a 12.
But they're all like 4-minute segments in it.
Have you ever, this show to me is reminiscent of like that show about exercising where it's like, look, you could theoretically learn how to exercise watching this show, but we have no illusions that that's why you're here.
No, I would say especially since, what was it, approximately 5 minutes into the episode, there's a very explicitly implied water sports.
I mean, it's only water sports if you're into it. This was a survival situation. Their choices were salt water, well,
that
or crushed up fish bodies.
That was the fucking coolest thing to see that happen. Where she just like takes a fish, wraps it in her shirt, crushes it into pulp, and then just wrings the blood into her mouth. And she's like, it's nutritious. It keeps you hydrated. And everyone else is just staring at her in horror.
It's got what plants crave.
Those fish are full of Brondo.
So, I don't know exactly what else there is to say about this show.
Not a lot. I would say there's only 2 episodes out. I only watched the first one.
I watched both, but let's try to keep it to the first episode and then speculations of things if you feel you need to guess where the show's going.
All right, you got it. Next we have Magical Senpai.
So we're moving right along to our second show, also a half show.
Also a half show. This one is about 2 main characters.
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
It's what was it, Senpai and Assistant Kun. Those are their names. They have no actual names.
Just like Mao.
Just like Mao. It's about a senpai who is in the quote-unquote magical club. You'll find out later that it's not actually a club. And she has a horrible stage fright and can't actually do magic well at all. But she dreams of being a proficient magician.
Right.
Eric, what are your impressions of this show?
This show is a gag comedy it's the closest comparison I could give to it is it's like those Adult Swim shows that are half long because they couldn't afford to license a real things. They're just like, we're going to show Too Many Cooks and this.
What was it?
Every Saturday.
Perfect Hair Forever?
Yeah, like Perfect Hair Forever.
Because like all it is just every episode ends with a fucking fan service stinger.
Yeah, so if you want ecchi comedy and, you know...
Eric, please, ecchi comedy.
Yeah, I don't care for pronunciation. Don't shame my accent, and I won't shame any of the things I should be shaming you about.
Fair enough.
So, is this show good?
It's funny. I think it's pretty funny.
That's fair. I don't know. Again, I don't know that if there's too much to say about these short ones that we put at the beginning of the list.
Yeah, not really. But no, that's a good transition. Right into Astra, Lost in Space. Now this one I have not watched.
Oh God, I was worried that you would watch it, and we would have to make an episode just about that. So I didn't know going in because I started the episode. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm gonna watch it. Now
Oh yeah, I was over when it first aired, and we just read the description.
you might be forgiven for thinking we're talking about the movie Lost in Space, or the TV show Lost in Space, or the Netflix series Lost in Space, because it's the same.
But this one's about high school kids, isn't it?
It's about 8 kids and an even kiddier kid, and they're being sent to space camp, which is like
Actual space camp.
right. They're getting dropped off on a deserted planet
Whoa!
for 3 days as like a weekend camping, like team building, working together, learning skills trip. And they're
And then they Voyager themselves.
well, the special objective of their team is they have to also keep this child alive who's much younger than them. They're like 9 or 10, and the other kids are high school age. Apparently, there's multiple kids going to multiple planets for multiple.
So wait, this is like, hey, here for extra credit, keep this kid alive.
Yeah, but it's 3 days, and they're like 4 hours away by spaceship from the next populated
Like lunar
place.
rover?
Yeah, they're basically camping out in a park. Is the way that they're trying to describe it.
Okay.
Now the problem is that a strange, mysterious vortex forms once they get to the surface of the planet, and they get sucked through it and teleported away. One of the characters has the wherewithal to say, "Put your helmets on. This is gonna get rough," because they're in space on the other end of the portal. So if they hadn't put their helmets on, they'd be dead. Serendipitously, they end up next to a derelict spaceship floating out there in space. They proceed to establish that every character is a quirky weirdo from the various quirky weirdo starter set. They do a space.
You have your jock. You have your goth kid. You have your popular.
No.
Oh no, that's just the Breakfast Club.
The Japanese set. It's the Japanese set.
Okay. So there's the jock. There's the hikikomori. There's the nerd.
There's the IQ 200, the hikikomori girl, the gloomy boy.
It's still the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, the art kid, the aloof girl, the DJ bait girl, and then the main character who's sort of a
What
jock,
the fuck does that mean?
the clumsy dumb one.
Oh, okay. That is not my thing.
I think we have multiple episodes of a show that say otherwise.
That's not my thing.
Okay, whatever, man. Let me just say this. When I started the episode, I didn't know it was 50 minutes long.
What?
Yeah.
It's a double ep?
Yeah. It's like a short movie. And I was like, boy, howdy. Was I like 20 minutes in, like, this is almost over, right? And then I was like, oh no.
Buckle up.
So they realize they don't have enough fuel to get home.
Of course.
So they're like, we don't have enough fuel to get anywhere, and we have enough food and water to last 3 days, because that was the plan.
But thankfully we can get home by using bat guano as fuel.
No, it's like, there's a planet within 3 days of us. We could go there, and they construct a plan to hopscotch from planets that they can reach to get home eventually.
How did they launch themselves? Did they get that far in what you watched?
The ship is functional, but it doesn't have enough fuel to go like anywhere.
So they're just planning to maybe serendipitously scavenge for fuel?
Well, they chart it out. They're like, look, man, we could do this, and make it, is their plan. And
I'm just curious how they find fuel.
I don't know, but there's a character in the show who says this thing, and I'm like, I hope they're wrong, but I think they might be right, that getting teleported was also part of the camp of learning teamwork, and like this whole thing is happening in the danger room in the X Mansion,
Oh, God.
and they don't know it yet.
That'd be so stupid.
What I will say is,
It was all a dream.
I don't think I'm going to keep watching.
Yeah, I say this sounds like kind of like trash.
It's not even, like, it's not
Not trashy. It just sounds like bad anime or boring anime.
boring is what I would describe. It's not something that I'm interested in. I bet you we could get Ray to watch it.
Probably.
What else we got?
Fire Force. Now we both watched this.
We both watched Fire Force. I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one. Go for it.
So as a preface, Fire Force fucking rules.
Yeah, Fire Force seems pretty good.
I love it. Brought to you by that guy who made Soul Eater.
That's correct.
I say which is funny because neither of us knew this, but then we were like, man, this character, he's got really pointy teeth. Kind of like the Soul from Soul Eater. I wonder if it was made by the same guy, and inevitably it was.
Yeah, we both separately were like, this looks a lot like Soul Eater, and then found out it's because it is.
No, so what is it? Fire Force is about firefighters that are actually kind of like pyrokinetics. Well, some of them are. Some of them are just tough guys.
They fight fires.
And they fight people that spontaneously combust into fiery demons called infernals.
Imagine.
Oh, what a world that would be. But, and yet our main boy, our soul, as it were, he's what's called a third generation pyrokinetic. So...
He's got jetpack legs.
Yeah, he's got jetpack fire boots built into his feet, basically. And everyone calls him a demon that everyone that he went to school with, because when he was growing up, apparently his house burned down, and killing his mother inside it.
And his younger brother.
Yeah,
but it was either him or Satan.
Yeah, it's either, according to the main character's flashbacks, it was either Satan or himself, or because they were thinking that maybe either it was when his powers awakened, that's what set the house on fire, or his mother turned into an infernal. But like apparently there was no evidence of that, so they're like, oh, did you see this boy? He killed his whole family. What a demon he is. It's like, no, he's like 8 years old and he just awoke to some crazy powers that he has no way of comprehending like how to handle them.
He didn't know to lock himself in a jail and steal a boombox. It's JoJo, DJ. That's what happens in JoJo.
God, it's part 4.
3? Okay.
3! Shit! What?
We can cut your embarrassing moments out of this one. That's fine.
I don't even anime, bro.
Yeah, I know. You're a gross 3D person.
I did just watch Stranger Things.
That's neither here nor there. So,
but yeah, I'm gonna keep watching Fire Force. Probably gonna read a little bit of it too.
Yeah, I'll probably start reading it when the season ends. I will say, I was sold like a minute in.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they actually started showing his power in action, moving around at the train station at the very beginning, I was like, 100% I'm in on this show.
Like they do a really good job of choreographing a fight.
They really put a lot of budget. I mean, like a lot of shows try to do that, to put the budget right at the front, so they're like, hey, this is what you're gonna see. I'm like, I'm on board. This is good.
Yeah. No, they did a very good job with this show.
Do you want to make any predictions for where any of these shows are going? Because I already have some guesses about where Fire Force is going, but I don't want to say them unless...
all I can say is I can't wait for what's that character, like their witch, not the priestess girl, but like the witch one. Like I can't wait for her to turn into Naruto, like when she like the Four Tails.
Yeah. So just to be clear, you watched only the first episode of this?
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you saw Bubble Bo?
What's with her like constantly referencing other anime characters?
I don't know.
Cause like she has a giant fire balloon named Bobo Bobo, and then what was the other one? There was like another anime reference that she made. And I was like, what the fuck? These are just names of characters.
I don't know. Maybe she's just a fan.
Maybe she's the weeb trash.
Clearly, she's got a witch hat on.
All right, next is Demon Lord Retry.
Okay.
I watched the first episode of this at lunch today.
We have now entered the isekai era of this podcast.
Oh dear God!
Because we've just got them back to back to back to back. Because
this season is lousy with them.
There's 4 of them that we're going to talk about today, and I think that they have varying degrees of success. Can I say, I didn't hate Demon Lord Retry.
I didn't either.
I will say I'm super mad. I knew which one was the Demon Lord from the poster.
Oh, see, I thought for sure that the Demon Lord, because the poster is just like some some blonde girl, like tiny blonde girl, and then a slightly older pink-haired girl.
I actually thought the blonde girl was a small boy when we first looked at it.
So did I.
But I was like, it's got to be the guy in the background.
But I didn't even notice the guy in the black suit in the background. I thought he blended in so much in the background, I didn't see him. But yeah, I like a Demon Lord retry. Eric, would you mind explaining this?
So...
Stop me if you've heard this one.
Stop me if you've heard this one. Overlord, but not a skeleton. I mean, like... A guy who works for a video game company.
Yeah, he made it.
On the day that the video game server goes down, gets isekai'd into the video game as his avatar of his admin position character.
Well, here's the thing, though. He doesn't get sucked into the game he worked on. That's like, because one of the things, like, when he meets like the demon god skeleton in or statue that in the first episode, it's like, you worked on this game, like Infinite Horizon or whatever the fuck, and you have killed more people than I have, because if you really think about it, it's like, what are you talking about? It's
the ethics of killing Goombas.
Yeah, and it's. But this NPC god character knew about his real world actions,
right? Because we're not even pretending it's not magical, stupid bullshit anymore.
Yeah, but I really like this show. I won't say I really, but I am interested in it. I'm probably gonna keep watching it.
I've watched every episode that's come out so far.
I need to watch the second one still.
And I will say, like, the quality didn't go down in episode 2.
Cool.
Like, it was consistently like, okay, this is the show that it is. I had some thoughts when I watched the opening. I'm like, some of these character designs are making me think this show is pretty cynical. And that's fine. Like, I'm not...
Well, what? The fact that the Demon Lord looks like fucking like a black-haired Sephiroth with a coat full of knives?
Not him. Just general character designs in the world. We're just like, okay, this is that kind of show. That's fine. I'm not too proud to watch that.
All right.
But so far, this might be, of the isekais we're looking at this season, this might be the standout. But I don't recall all 4 that I wrote down.
Well, you'll remember this next one.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Next one is Ari Fureta, Commonplace to the Strongest.
Okay.
Or yeah, From Commonplace to the Strongest, I think is like the full title.
You watched half of the episode.
I watched half of this episode because I was at work today, and I only remembered to take one of my breaks. This show, from what I watched, was incomprehensible.
Can I read for you verbatim the things I wrote down as notes watching the show in real time?
Please.
Okay, in order. Whole bunch of stinky isekai kids. Bullet point 1.
Okay.
Bullet point 2. CGI skeletons, oh boy.
Oh my god, the CGI is the worst!
I don't think that CGI skeletons
No, the CGI dragon.
Oh, I don't think that was even supposed to be a dragon. But
whatever that was, it looked like a giant piece of actual poop.
The CGI wasn't great, but this is an anime, so I'm not expecting good CGI. Not everything can be Demon Slayer Yaiba or whatever, where you don't even notice the CGI most of the time it happens.
They did a good job in that one.
Okay, so blood does not mix with fuzzy donuts. I don't know if you got that far.
I did not. What?
Eat their hearts to gain their powers.
Ooh.
And then, in parentheses, a question to myself, is this Full Metal Alchemist?
Well, yeah, because the guy, he just keeps on transmuting stuff.
So then my final thing that I wrote down, this is probably going to be edgy trash, but put that garbage in my veins. So I'm going to give this show a couple more episodes, but I do not expect this show to grow on me.
So, this show's an isekai, right?
It's an isekai where they skipped the entire first half of the isekai. Like we don't even know who's isekai'd. We know that some people were.
So, are there 2 episodes of this out currently?
Not at the point of recording this.
Okay.
I checked.
Yeah, I was so confused because I was watching. I'm just like, it starts in media res of this character getting attacked by this giant bullywog looking thing, and what was it?
The moon bear? Or whatever it is.
He keeps basically Full Metal Alchemisting his way into a tunnel behind him so that he can like get away from this bullywog.
Oh, that's not why I asked if this is Full Alchemist.
Because he's. I thought it was just because he's transmuting.
He's
stuff.
transmuting. He lost his one arm.
Oh, I saw him lose his arm, and then like the monster ate his arm. It's like he ate my arm.
Oh boy, I can't wait for that edit. Ooh, normalize. But yeah, so you didn't even get to the part with the fuzzy donuts and the blood?
No.
So he figures out a trick to kill some of the wolf monsters, which is to say he digs a hole in the middle of his hole and tricks them into falling down it, then pokes at them with a stick until he kills some of the wolves. And then he's like, I guess I'll eat them so I don't starve. And it's poison. But because he's sitting underneath that disco ball, he can't die because the water keeps healing him. So he absorbs.
Yeah, because there's like a magical disco ball that turns anything into quote unquote holy water. That is the best healing potion
it's
ever.
Straight
ever,
up
ever,
Axe Cop logic of I got their blood on me. Now I'm Blood Wolf Knight. So he eats these wolves and he becomes able to shoot lightning. And then he fights one of those rabbits and eats the rabbit, and then he can move fast.
Oh, that weird fucking jackalope thing?
Yeah, the weird sex rabbit. What was it, that rabbit's name? Machiavelli. That's a joke for one person.
All right.
Well, let me fucking finish my thought.
I'm sorry.
So he goes on to make a literal fucking gun. He just makes a magic gun. Like, he makes a gun and he puts magic in it. He's like, this is the gun what shoots magic. And then he takes a gun and he goes and fights the bear. And that's where the episode ends.
Awesome.
No. Okay, where were we? What's next?
Next is Isekai Cheat Magician.
Ah, yes. Isekai Cheat Magician.
This show.
Did you look at it?
I watched it.
Well, then we are at the same place with the show. What did you think of it?
It's trash.
It sure is.
But I'm probably going to watch it.
I'll watch another episode of it because, like, it's inoffensive trash.
Yeah.
Like, it's not stinky garbage.
Well, no, because, like, what was it? It's like, okay, you have boy A, girl B. Who cares what their actual names are? Because the story sure as hell doesn't.
Fuck, how many characters from the shows that we've talked about do you remember the names of? Just to put a point in that statement.
Senpai and Assistant Kun. But, what was it? You have boy A, girl B. They get, boy A is getting in the process of getting isekai'd.
Oh no!
By a magical circle appearing under his feet on the way to
school.
school.
The bus is looming.
Yeah, there's lots of buses, but thankfully, miraculously even, they're all staying on the street, not careening into the sidewalks.
Optimus Prime leaning over around the side of a building saying "swiggity swooty."
But he's walking. The two of them are walking to school. The magic circle appears beneath boy A's feet, and girl B's like, "Wait, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh my god, I've read. This is just like all my light novels and anime. I know what's gonna happen." And he pushes girl B out of the magical circle. He's like, "Just save yourself. Like, I'm going away." And she's like, "No, I'm not letting you leave me alone. We're childhood friends, don't you know?" And she jumps in the magical circle and gets isekai'd with him.
Oh God!
Upon which, they appear in a lovely field, and they run into 3 traveling adventurers.
No, they first get attacked by a Voltaire album.
Oh. Well, what was it that attacked them?
The Obsidian Horse.
Oh, the Obsidian Horse.
Obsidian Games attacks.
Which was just a horse with a big horn in it.
Yeah, made of obsidian.
Yeah, made of obsidian.
A black unicorn, if you would. And, a Voltaire album.
The 3 adventurers rescue them, and they're like, "Hey, we can take care of you. We'll take you back to the nearest town. Like, you guys seem pretty cool," for no particular reason.
Look at how they're dressed. They're clearly suave.
Oh yeah, because they're still wearing their school uniforms, and like, "Wow, with clothes as finely tailored as these, you guys must be nobles." And they're like, "No,
apples.
No, not really. and they just leave it at that. And then after going back to the town, they're like, "Hey, here, we'll just give you money because also you guys should go to the Adventurers Guild and sign up so you guys can make your own, start making your own money. And we're going to be at this nearby tavern or like hotel or whatever that we operate out of. So we'll see you in episode 3 probably."
We're going back to the NPC stable. Goodbye.
And then they go to the Adventurers Guild and they're like, "Hey, we want to be adventurers. Boy howdy."
It was a thunder smash.
And the receptionist says, "Hey, okay, put your hands on this magic ball or magic crystal ball."
Touch my ball.
It's not
Touch
weird,
my ball.
And then it glows with like the girl touches it first, and it glows like a couple colors briefly, and the assistant or the receptionist freaks the shit out, and she's like, "Hey boy, hey, you touch it now.
Touch my ball."
And nothing happens except the ball just gets a bunch of fractures in it. And they're like, "Oh my god! I can't believe it! You guys stay here!" And then I gotta go get the guild master.
Just like how not to summon a demon lord.
Is that what happens in that show?
Yeah, more or less, but it's a mirror.
Oh god.
You look in the mirror, and the better your magic is, the more clear your picture is in the mirror. And then he looks in the mirror, and either you could see him completely or the mirror breaks. And he's like, "Oh no."
But they go get the guild master, who is, I think, if I remember right, he was just a dwarf, right?
Just a dwarf.
I mean, he was a dwarf.
Yeah, that seems correct.
Yeah. And he
was a dwarf for an ugly man.
Like, "Hey, you're gonna go with this like really sexy elf to this random. She's clearly just like something.
I mean, like, yeah, but he doesn't say that.
No, but that's what happens.
That's a thing that your brain said.
It's not what I'm saying. It's what the show said.
No, it's what you said.
Subtext.
I don't
Anyways,
think so.
go with this elf. She's gonna take you to a different place to finish your test.
It's a shelf.
You filled in your Scantron wrong, and so they go to the this like shed in the woods where there's a witch that's just in her bra and panties, and who opens the door. She's like, "What? What's the big deal? Can't you tell this is what kind of character I am?"
This is my house. I can dress how I want. To which
Actual dialogue.
To which the elf says, "No."
And then they take the test again by touching a ball. And they're like, "Hey."
No, I feel like they had a frisbee, right? Like it was like a dumb little wood frisbee.
That's what it was. That, yeah, it was a really oblong frisbee with like a bedazzled gem on the corner of it.
That's correct.
And they touch it, and then it just kind of glows a little bit, and she's like, "Holy fuck!" And he's like, "What? Did we do bad? Don't tell me we have 0 magic power, because if we have 0 magic power, the guild won't let us register as adventurers."
Oh no.
And she's like, "No, you don't have 0 magic power. You guys are going to be my apprentices." End of scene.
That's a whole episode of a show.
It's a whole episode of a show in about 4 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a long... It felt like a short show watching, right?
It did, yeah. It zipped by.
Somehow,
despite it being so boilerplate.
I assume black magic was involved.
Some sort of cheat magic.
So you'll watch another episode or 2 of it, yeah?
I will, yeah, because what was it? Like, the one thing I didn't touch on was the very opening of the show was like them just being completely overpowered, just destroying an invading army, it looked like.
So, like...
And he's like, "Man, every time I do this, it always feels like a cheat."
Can I ask you a question about that?
Credits.
This is more of a general question than about the show specifically. But do you find that to be a good plot? I'm always kind of like...
That they're overpowered?
Lukewarm on overpowered protagonist. Like, I like when they have to, like, get there.
It depends on how they do it. We have another show coming up where this happens, and I have a different stance on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it in this case, but that's because it wears it on its sleeve.
Yeah, no, I guess you can't be like, "You're a pervert" if the show is called Pervert Quest. But
I say no. We told you you can't judge us. We're doing what it says on the tin.
I guess my point is, I don't know. I feel like isekais are better when like they don't start out super strong. Like I
agree.
I like Reborn as a Slime. He starts
Yes.
that story really strong.
He can't even see. Though.
I think I might like So I'm a Spider Now, So What more because they don't start strong and they actually have to try.
Isn't that one getting an anime soon?
I think it's getting like an OVA movie.
Damn.
Or it got one already. I don't know.
Gotta-
All I know is they used a light novel design and it looked bad.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that.
I mean, like I just don't like it.
All right.
We ready to move on?
I am.
Please.
One moment. We need. Because we don't have the full title written down here because it's fucking long.
You could use the English title.
I know. Do you love your mom and her 2-hit multi-target attacks?
Right, okay.
This show.
Something made me think we'd already talked about this one.
Yeah, weird, right?
It's almost like this is the fourth isekai on this list. Okay, go ahead.
This show.
So now, did you watch the first episode?
I did. I've actually read probably the first 10 chapters of this manga too, because when me and Ray were going through like the list of anime that coming out this season, and we got to this one, and I was like, "Excuse me, what is this title?"
That's correct. It was like, I mean, I have to watch it either way.
Yeah, like you first you had my interest, now you have my attention.
Yeah.
Eric, you explain this lovely gem.
So the story opens with our...
I would call it a gift from the weeb gods.
Sure, why not? The story starts with our main character filling out like a census survey that are all very like mom specific questions.
You could say.
While he's sitting at a table as his mom is cooking food, be like, "What you doing?"
See, this is different from in the manga because they're all taking this at school. Like this is like in a classroom, everyone is answering questions about their moms, and he is the only person that writes his name on the test. I guess in his classroom.
All right, I guess they're saving budget by putting it in the house. I'm sure
they went through like 6 chapters in that first episode. They were zipping.
So then, an amount of time later, some government official they claim shows up and is like, all right, well, here's the thing about that survey you filled out. Did you ever think, hey, I sure wish I was isekai? And he's like, well, duh, of course I do.
I'm Japanese.
And then they turn around and fucking just crip walk on his keyboard. And he gets sucked into his own computer, and his mom's like, no, wait a minute.
Don't leave me. And he's like, it's okay. And like he's like, goodbye, mom. I'll come back better, stronger, and maybe when I
Harder,
come back,
faster.
I'll be able to get along better with my mother. But like a normal teen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess allegorically that's true.
Yeah.
When you stop being a teenager, I guess you get along better with your parents.
I guess.
Most of the time. Whatever. So he goes to the isekai world. He's like, oh, wow, fairies. That's cool. That his mom shows up
just
behind
like in
him.
my light novels.
It's just like my animes. And then his mom enters the isekai as well. She's like, I'm coming with you. And he's like, no.
This is not my man's romance.
There weren't even any steam-powered trains. That's a reference for someone.
Okay.
So they go and they meet the king, and the king's like, here's your stats, idiot. And,
Here's my name. I am king.
and then he uses his real name again, and he's like, fuck, I did it twice now.
Oh yeah, because he registers under his actual name in this beta on a game.
So he gets like stuck with like a pretty generic character class, I guess, is what they're trying to get across.
He is a normal hero, is his class.
He's like, I picked villager.
Essentially.
I'm a level 1 villager.
He's like a better hero, because like all the good classes were previously taken by prior beta testers that are currently still in the game that were like stronger, like more overpowered classes.
Okay. And you get a quick shot of what his stats are like, and his stats are like decent. He's got good luck. And then at the same time, you see his mom's stats, and it's just like, oh, she has 401 attack. That's fine.
Were her stats off the chart? I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah, no, they showed them he has like 4s and then like a 30 in luck, and she has like a 400 in strength and then like similar stats and other stuff, and then a 50 in luck. And they're like, okay, now pick your magic sword.
Oh yeah, so like, hey, since most new players to video games don't actually want to play a game unless you give them something right off the bat, we're gonna give you your choice of the 3 most powerful swords in the game.
Pardon our biting criticism of Japanese MMOs for a moment. So he's like, I'll take the light sword, and then the mom's like, I'll take the other 2. And he's like,
and like,
you took 2?
Wait,
like,
you
they'd
weren't
be
supposed
lonely.
to take 2.
She's like, but they'd be lonely.
Mom, you're overpowered.
That's the show.
No, she says, I'm not a stove. I can't, or you have too much firepower. She's like, I'm not a stove. I don't have fire.
Yeah. And I don't want to really spoil that much of the story of the first episode of the show, but they sort of start hinting that the mom knows more about what's going on than...
Yeah, she's basically like she kind of knew about the details that Shirase, the government
She
agent,
might be
like,
in charge of
filled
the
her in
Human Instrumentality Project or whatever.
No, that's Shirase.
But that's
Also, the puns that she makes, she's constantly, because Shirase means to inform, and she's like, Shirase inform, so Shirase suru. Mm-hmm. So she's just constantly making puns in the Japanese version, which don't translate at all, which kind of sucks.
That's fine.
Goddamn our America gene language.
Hey, Bobobo made it work. What was their excuse?
Yeah, right. Well, they actually translated that.
So, are you gonna keep watching this?
1,000%. Because where I'm at, I've already seen the show. The episode ends with them being like, okay, we need to interview members for our party, and she's like, well, hell, I'm gonna be the one to consider doing the interviews. We're gonna be doing mom interviews.
Yeah.
As she calls them, and I've gotten to the point where she's already finished the interviews.
Well, don't spoil anything for people.
And we've met two of the new main characters.
All right.
Spoiler alert, they're in the opening.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But that's not what
I haven't seen the third one yet.
Do we want to talk at all about that
Yes.
that revelation that I dropped on you?
Eric dropped a fucking knowledge bomb
Okay,
and a half on me.
I'll let you tell the story for the way you perceived it.
Okay, so Eric sent me a text message the other day after we were talking, because he's like, hey, did you watch that show?
So apropos of nothing, I'm like, so I found out that show is by the same guy who makes this other manga, which I read.
Yeah. And it's also like, which has some like mom stuff in it too. A little bit.
Kind of, but in a very different way.
But yeah, then you like found out also that apparently the author of these 2 mangas, he's like a home shut-in.
He's like a homestuck, not like a shut-in. He's
a homestuck.
He's stuck. It's not that he can't. It's not that he doesn't want to leave.
He can't.
It's that
leave.
he's like there's things that he can't leave the house because of.
Yes, and he's taking care of his terminally sick mother.
Yeah, that's.
And it's like, oh, he made this manga about like a teen
leaving home,
being estranged from his mother, and being forced to spend time with her to get along with her more. Whereas he's stuck at home taking care of his mother that he probably cares very deeply for. She's like, oh, and that got me so hard in the feels yesterday when you said that.
So I give Hunter x Hunter a lot of shit for how it's sort of soft written based on the life of the guy who writes Hunter x Hunter.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
But like this kind of writing from life I find much more endearing, I guess. Oh yes.
That like in knowing that adds a whole nother layer of subtext.
But
because like she could like small spoiler alert, the mom interviews, she conducts them as if they're like actually like an arranged wedding interview. She's getting to know these people, and she's just like, no, you're not good enough. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So the thing about that whole conversation was the part at the end where I was like, hey, you know what the worst part is? Ain't nobody in the manga industry care about this guy's mom. They're all sex perverts.
Oh my god, but yes. Oh, we didn't even mention how her mom's basic attacks are two-hit multi-hit
It's in the
attacks.
name.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to.
Every time she swings her swords, giant waves of destruction basically come out. And when the main character boy swings his sword,
no one here
just a
can tell
little
that you put up
wind
air
scar.
quotes when you said swings or attacks.
Swings her attacks. Whoops. Swings her swords.
That's not the joke.
Okay.
I think that's all to say about this show, other than that I think we're both going to stay on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're fucking losers.
Yes. Also, next
show.
Wait, this isn't an isekai. Why is this in the isekai bracket?
I don't think it is. I think that was the fourth one, and then that's just the next show down.
Okay. Well, it's still inside the bracket. What was it? It's if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord.
Okay.
Oh wait. Oh no.
Well, we're doing that
Don't
one
you,
now.
No. Well, wait. No. Don't you love your what?
That's the one we just talked about.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Sure are.
Yeah. Next is Danmachi 2, or Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?
So the second season of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon has begun.
Only after 4 years or whatever break.
4? I thought it was more than that.
It's probably at least 5 or 6.
I was having a
I
conversation.
think it came out like 2013.
I was having a conversation with Curtis, I think, and I'm like, didn't it come out in 2011? I don't care that
gonna
much
try to find out
to
really
check,
quick,
but
yeah.
so the story continue of the boy named Bell's continued journey to get Senpai to notice him.
A super strong senpai.
Now we're gonna talk about, I guess, the first 2 episodes in a way, because the first.
I didn't even watch episode 0.
Well, because the
I
first
just
episode of
rewatched
the
whole
season
show.
is just a recap, because that's how long it's been.
Yeah.
And the second episode is actually the first episode. So, what to say about this show?
So,
First of all, if you haven't seen the first season,
well, I mean, it's on Crunchyroll.
let's try to keep this to under 5 minutes so that we can be like, look, just jump ahead a few minutes, just in case. Because I don't think we can talk about season 2 without talking about stuff that could be spoilers for season 1.
So what was that? In like the last 2, I don't know how much they covered in that recap episode, but
I'm sure nothing germane.
so one of the things that like I completely forgot that what was it? The god Hermes,
The
reveals,
blonde guy?
Yeah, the blonde guy with the hat that's like just the shit heel of the show. He's like when he's kind of like devil's advocate, kind of orchestrating a lot of like the bad things that happens behind the scenes to Bell and his party. He like is like when he sees Bell like wrecking shit in the last 2 episodes, he's like, "Ah, yes, Zeus, your grandson. He is worthy. Like I can't wait to see the great things he does." And I was like, Wait, what? I don't remember this. I don't remember being Zeus's grandson.
Neither do I.
Yeah. And so and also the very first like 30 seconds of the show is apparently Zeus, his grandfather, saying like in a flashback saying, to Bell, my grandson, who needs to pick up girls in a dungeon. I was like, wait, what? This is a thing? This is a thing you're saying to your grandson?
To be fair, if there was one god who was going to say that, it would be Zeus. You know what I think we're realizing is that the whatever version we watched of it when it came out must either not have been a good translation or the official one on Crunchyroll isn't either.
Well, it's just also the fact that it's been like 1,000 years since the first show came out.
Yeah, I mean, basically we were still watching them on the side of walls as cave boys when the first season came out. You're correct.
Yeah. But this show is just like, it's so scummy.
Like, I remembered that aspect of it, and I remembered
it was bad.
the combat in dungeons.
How bad it was.
Yeah, no, I think that you get a pretty decent reminder in episode 1 when you're like,
Yes.
This is the first shot of this character. That's fine.
It's just not, and like literally, this boy, pardon my French, is tripping over Poontang.
Oh. Don't
He
be
is just-
crass.
He just is falling from one into another and just be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, excuse me.
I was trying to remember how to say it. I'm too late now.
He's just like these women are. He is drowning in women, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I know you don't really want me here." I fucking hate him. I was getting really mad at Belle. I was like, "You're just so fucking wishy-washy. I hate you."
You sound like every boy in every Japanese high school boy show. I hate him. The girls like him.
Well, no, it's not that the girls like it. It was just that.
Why are you so loud about this?
Because he's just. No one's that dense or that shy.
Okay. I can think of several people.
So yeah, season 2, I'm really kind of into because jumping ahead.
Do you want to jump ahead? I want to jump backwards.
Okay, jump backwards.
Because we didn't even talk about like the fact that this show is gone like I remember that scummy part. I forgot about the other way a show could be scummy, where you have this tiny little fucking spit fuck kid in a bar being like, "Oh, look at the coward baby boy," and it starts this really really annoying argument that starts a really really like okay bar fight.
Yeah.
I can't even call it good, but I can't call it bad.
Well, it was really awesome to see Belle almost get fucking choked out and to death.
I don't know. I enjoyed the part where Belle beat up the guy.
Well, no, when Belle was beating up the guys and then actually seeing Belle oh damn, Belle's about to die here, and then
Bakugo saved him.
Yeah, then Bakugo saves him.
Okay, now we can flash forward. I just wanted to touch on the bar fight because I hate this type of character.
Yes.
And you know the exact one I'm talking about. It's that fucking cop from Magical Girl Apocalypse, but it's an entire familia of them.
Yes. Well, it's just all of them are there because they know they're part of the Apollo familia, and I guess Apollo has beef with Hestia for whatever reason.
There's
and
more.
All of a sudden it's
God.
hey, the second season's out. We need a plot device. Let's do this.
God, it's like you don't know the lore of Greek mythology.
Is Hestia an actual god?
Hestia and Apollo are both Greek gods.
Oh, I knew Apollo, but
Hestia
I never heard
is
of
the god
Hestia.
of the hearth, which is to say the home
plate,
fire,
the homestead. Yeah,
the homestead.
Yeah. Okay, so I just say I've heard of the god of the homestead. I completely forgot that was actual Hestia. I thought they just made up one for
Well, they're from all different mythologies.
I know,
in the show.
yeah, because what was it? They have Taki Mizuguchi or whatever, who's obviously Japanese, and they have what was it? Freya?
Did you just say the name of one of the Digidestined? What the fuck?
Yep. Yep. That was it.
Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
And yeah, so they're like you said, they're from all the different mythologies, but also another quick flashback. In season 1, Hestia just straight up unleashes her god powers at one point, and everyone's like, "Oh shit! Shit's about to get real," because she unsealed her powers, and all that happens is she's glowing rainbow colors, and everyone's like, "Okay, well we need to stop beating up Belle because Hestia's gonna actually kill everyone if we don't stop."
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, this happens. Because all the boys are like, "Hey, we're jealous of you because you're partying with
a girl.
Eyes Wallenstein, you're the blonde girl, and we're all jealous that you're really strong and you're leveling up faster than we did."
You fucking rookie.
Yeah, you fucking rookie.
Step on your face.
And so they basically they kidnap Hestia, lure him away, and say, "Hey, we have your goddess. Come fight us, nerd."
Okay, I remember that.
At that fight, he's getting his ass kicked because the main bad guy has an invisibility cloak or hat on, and Hestia's like, "All right, stop." And then she starts glowing, and everyone's like, "Ooh!" And then nothing comes of it, and it's they make a really big deal about how the gods say how they say the gods can't use their powers because X, and also gods can't go into the dungeon because X, and both these things happen in the first season, and nothing happens. It's just they make these rules and nothing comes from them.
I feel like the rules were more like they're not supposed to willingly go into the dungeon.
They're not supposed to.
That's why
and also like they sealed their powers so they can do whatever.
As I recall, at the end of the one season, doesn't the one god go in disguise? Am I misremembering that, or isn't it Hermes who goes in disguised as like a regular guy?
No. Hermes comes in with them, and be like, "Hey, I want to go see this Bell guy because I've been hearing a lot about him, because I think he's like he's connected to Freya in some way, and
For some reason, whatever.
But
that part of the story
Freya's
makes zero sense.
If in case you forgot, Freya's real into Bell too for some reason, and
Makes zero sense, I promise.
because he's so cute.
That doesn't make sense for a Norse god.
Because he's just so dang cute.
It does. The design for Freya doesn't make sense. None of it makes any sense. They just picked names out of a hat. They animated this. So we get to this party later on in the episode in which they have this gang of gods meet for dinner and supper.
Who is it? Apollo. Yeah, Apollo's having a banquet.
Apollo has a party. He says, "Behold the power of the sun, the prominence." And then there's a dance, and Apollo starts walking up to them, and I'm like, oh, he's going to fucking do it. They're going to show his face at an angle, and he's going to make a stupid mouth. And they fucking did it, and I almost turned the show off right then, and I was like...
Because he licks his lips really grossly.
Yeah, like, it's like, is there any way to have a villain character who's not this fucking Team Rocket trash level of writing?
Apparently not. They haven't done it in any show I've ever seen.
I just got into the show real hard, like started razzing it, but like I'm still gonna watch the whole season either way.
Oh yeah, no, like because the one
too far in.
Yeah, because Apollo says at the end, like, you know what? He takes off his white glove, and while he's licking his lips continuously, and just throws it in Hestia's face, is like, I'm challenging you to a family war.
And if I win, I'll take your son.
Yeah, because for some reason, I'm also in love with Belle.
I mean, he's just so cute.
He's just so dang cute.
The only way it makes sense is if the gods know who he is, right?
Yeah. They must all know that he's Zeus's like grandson.
Yeah.
Because no one else knows that, including the viewers, because it's been millennia since the first season came out.
Does that make him Perseus? Oh, that would make a whole lot of sense.
It makes him Belle.
No, but think about it. If he's Perseus, it makes a whole lot of sense that his power is Argonaut, because isn't Perseus an Argonaut? Perseus was part of that story, but that's Jason.
Yeah, it's Jason.
So he's Jason.
Argonaut. Yeah, he's Jason.
So the main character of the show is Jason now.
So he's
Jason Voorhees.
That's why he has a knife.
Right, the Hestia knife. The house knife. Just like Jason.
Exactly.
He got his protect your house from vines.
Just like Jason, he got his knife from the goddess Hestia who had it forged by Hephaestus.
Right. I think we've talked enough about this show at this point, despite the fact that we both kind of like the show, even though we hate the show at the same time.
I have some problems with it, but I really like it. Like so much so that I want to watch the movie in like 2 weeks when it comes to the movie theater near us.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go. I'll go.
I think I'm down to go too.
I'll see that with you. I am gonna wear my hoodie though.
I expect nothing less.
And yours will be here by then.
Wait, what?
What? No.
Oh,
What's the next show on the list?
If it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord.
Oh, I'm so glad I thought about these shows not just in terms of
content,
like splitting up ones we'd seen from ones that you hadn't seen all of, to going like, well, this is the scummy one, so let's put it next to this one. I want to have a real quick conversation before we even get into the show or not, and this is a baseline conversation that'll affect the texture of this argument we're about to have. DJ, is this show scummy or is it not?
The show is not scummy. The people who made it are.
Like the people who wrote it?
The people that are...
Or the company that adapted it?
Definitely the people who adapted it. Probably the guy who wrote it.
Okay. So this show is about a hero who walks through the woods and he finds an orphaned demon girl who's like...
Have you heard this one before?
Who's like 5 or 6?
Yeah, she's like 5 years old.
She's like 5 years old. This is the plot of Elfenlied. And she's like... She doesn't speak a word of hero. She speaks demon language. And he's like, well,
Well, I studied demon language in high school.
Well, no, his explanation
It's the
actually
spell
makes
language.
way more sense.
It's a good.
And I appreciated
Eric's
that.
The joke.
I know, I'm just sandbagging you.
Asshole.
Okay, well, wait till later. So he's sort of like using broken demon language. It's like, hey, this, and this.
I think I talked over you though. Why does he know demon language?
Because the language of demons is the language that magic spellcraft is based off of.
Yeah.
So like there are words in common. So he could sort of have like a shitty conversation well enough that she can understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah, it's like me trying to speak Chinese with people who actually speak Chinese.
So he abducts this kid.
Just like me in China.
More or less. Just like me in the U.S.
Oh, God, Eric.
God, that's a story for another day.
Wait, what?
A story for another day. And
I might be leaving here, I hope.
And so he basically is like, I don't know what to do with this kid. They're like, well, no one's reported them missing. So he's like, I guess I own her now? And the kid imprints on him shockingly quickly.
Oh, yeah, because she's like, hey, my dad's dead over there. And he's like, oh, I guess we can go bury him.
Yeah.
Why not? And then they, like, check the demon register for
Yeah,
his...
they check the
dad.
magic net, and they're like, nope, no missing kids. It's weird.
Oh, yeah, they literally use the magic internet.
Yeah, because...
They go to, like, the magic secretary of state, check the database.
I'm going to chalk that one up to kids these days not having a frame of reference without the internet.
No, you might be right.
And I'm so mad that I think I'm right. But, like, yeah. So they check the internet, like, nope, this kid doesn't exist on record. He's like, all right, well, you're mine now. So he's like, I'll adopt her. And that's pretty much the whole first episode.
And that first episode was fine. PG, watch it with your grandma. Then the ending happens.
I think you remember the ending slightly different than what it actually is.
All it was just the 5-year-old girl.
It's just a little...
5-year-old girl.
I don't think so. I think they age her up in scenes. Like, we're going to get some time skips.
Okay.
Not that matters to what you're going to say.
Just in various outfits, looking adorable, looking like really kawaii.
Is it a crime to be kawaii?
But it just, I don't know, like, it was just like, the way that it was presented just felt dirty. And maybe it's just like, it's me being jaded from having watched too much, like, bullshit anime.
I think it's you being jaded, because I watched that outro and I was like, oh, they're trying to do like a cute little outro. Because it's not like it was High School DxD's outro where they're pole dancing. It was just a kid on like a pastel background floating around.
Like those drawings were definitely somebody's something.
Well, everybody's somebody's something.
I mean, you're right, but I don't know. It just skeeved me out.
Never forget that someone has looked at the thumbnail of you and been like, I'm caught up on the show at this point of recording.
Oh,
like,
I haven't watched the second episode
I
yet.
watched more of it, and it doesn't get creepier at the point I'm at.
I might watch the second episode.
It seems wholesome so
Okay.
far. It seems wholesome at this point.
Has there been a time skip yet?
No.
Okay.
The kid almost speaks English now at the point that I watched too.
Speaks hero.
Yeah, they almost speak isekai.
Well, that was not an isekai. It's just a different world.
You can't prove that.
All right. Next is To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts. I have not watched this show. I almost watched it.
Okay. I watched this show. I looked at the art for the
Doesn't look good.
poster and said, this show looks like it's fine, but I feel like it's going to be like a Mushi Bugyo, where it's a show that no one will ever remember, and it'll be in an unmarked grave before the year is out. So let me break it down for you. There's a war in a country, and in order to win the war, one of the sides, the side that we're ostensibly supposed to agree with, they take a group of humans and turn them into super soldiers. Again, stop me if you've heard this one. TJ, you don't know this. It's the same plot as Terraformars.
I'd say the art looks exactly like Terraformars, kinda.
No, not
Oh, at least in
when
the
you watch
poster.
it doesn't. The poster looks similar. I'll agree to that. So they all turn into like mythical creatures, basically. Like they're like werewolf type stuff.
Okay.
Like there's a werewolf. There's a Dragumo. You got a siren, minotaur.
Oh, okay. They actually turn into like mythology ass monsters.
Yeah, no, they're all
okay.
turning into mythology ass things. Like there's a guy who turns into a hydra,
Oh.
like a hydra man. Like they don't go full monster most
Yeah,
of the time.
this is like a civil war or something.
Yeah, it's just like civil war between the North and South, and the North makes these super soldiers.
Sorry, you've heard me this before.
Again, like I said, it's just the plot of America. It's the most patriotic anime of all time.
A love story.
Yeah, it is actually in the first episode.
Oh.
So there's a scientist who's responsible for turning them into these super soldiers, and she's doing research on them. She's like, a lot of people are having some side effects or whatever.
From turning into fucking monsters?
Yeah, and as the first episode goes on, you see that they're turning back less.
Oh.
Like there's people that are.
Oh, so they're supposed to be able to turn back.
It's a werewolf situation. Like they Hulk out and turn into the monsters.
See, I thought it was just a one-way street.
No, these are still people.
Oh, so it becomes a one-way street.
So yeah, the more times you do it, the less of you comes back each time. I guess is how it's sort of presented in the first episode, and the episode ends with like they're doing mop up on the war, and one of the people goes crazy. And it's like the snake Hydra guy, he's just like starts breathing poison in a crowd of POWs. And they're all like, dude, fucking stop. And he's just like you get a shot of his face and he has one human eye and and he has like a snake eye on the main head. And the human eye is like crying like he's trying to stop, but he can't.
Oh.
Like the monster part of him's taken over.
Okay.
So they have to put him down.
See, this sounds a lot more interesting.
Like I said, there's more to the show than it looks like.
Yeah, because the paragraph on Crunchyroll made it sound real boilerplate.
It really doesn't tell you anything. I think that's to its credit.
Well, yeah, all it says like, hey, there's a civil war, and then like the North turns like its soldiers into monsters. And I was like, well, this sounds dumb.
Well, let me tell you what happens. Because the guy in charge of the team, he's like, okay, well, we're gonna make this pact right now. Everybody's standing here. All the sacred beasts, which I don't remember, like they have a name of their division,
yeah,
but they're all called sacred beasts by everyone else because they turn into mythological monsters. Yeah. He's like, if anyone else goes crazy, we deal with it ourselves because it's a respect thing.
Take care of our
it's
own.
Respect and it's family.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, okay. Now by the end of the war, like
Godfather.
they've had to put down like 3 or 4 of the guys of like the 30 or 40 of them.
Okay.
And then on the last day of the war, they're like, some guy walks in, he's like, so they're gonna probably announce the armistice tomorrow morning, so you guys probably don't even have to do this fight tomorrow. So he's like, that's fucking great news. I don't want anyone else to turn into permanent giraffe monsters. So he's like, that's great. And then the girl that he likes is like, let's go take a walk and talk about this because I want to talk to you about something. So that happens, and I don't want to spoil what happens in that scene, but somebody gets shot. I'm not gonna say who, but somebody gets shot.
Okay.
So we're then jump.
Someone hulks out, I bet.
Like I said, I'm not going to say who got shot, but there's at least 3 people in the room.
Okay.
So then we jump forward in time a couple months, and a fan service character walks on the screen and says, hey, I'm looking for information about the sacred beasts. And the main character, the leader guy, is like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, no. As you know, after the war, the unit got disbanded, and they all went home. He's like, right? He's like, yeah, a lot of those places are on fire. Like, not literally, but, like, the monsters went home, and they kept deteriorating.
Oh.
So
they were deteriorating,
the premise of the show
slowly.
is the main guy of the team is like, okay, and he picks up a gun and a spear, and he's like, we made a deal, I'm going to go solve it. So it's this guy going around the country looking up his war buddies, seeing if they've turned into monsters for good, and having to put them down in an emotional conflict each time. That's episode 1.
This sounds pretty good.
So I watched episode 2, and I want to talk about it in general terms because this is important to tell you what the show's going to be like.
No, it's really
episode
sad.
1,
after talking about this, we were just like, I for some reason still had in my head like this is taking place in a fictional America. I fucking wish it was taking place in a fictional America. Well, and they're just like, I have to go to Louisiana to find Joe.
Well, hold on. Just hear me out. So the second episode starts as a vignette before the war of one of the guys getting like the military coming to his door being like, hey, you have special blood. You could turn into a sacred beast. Do you want to fight for your country? This guy runs an orphanage.
Oh.
And they're like, he's like, I mean, like, not really. And they're like, well, your village is kind of on the verge of bankruptcy and collapse. The government will fund this village
We'll
if you
subsidize
fight.
your village.
He's like, this will save the whole village. He's like, yes. He's like, fine, I'll do it. And his daughter's like, what? Like
What's a sacred beast?
Well, no, they don't tell him that.
Yeah, okay.
They just tell him that his blood is special and he can help win the war.
Oh, okay.
And they'll pay for the village if he does it. And the daughter's like, well, what do I do? He's like, well, you're going to run the orphanage while I'm gone. So then it jumps back to post-war of the guy coming back. He's now a monster man.
Naturally.
But he still has his intelligence. But just to give you an idea of, like, he's a monster man, he's a full-size dragon. And he's just like, it's just a dragon and two military guys walk up. They're like, here's a box of your father's belongings. Here's your father. He's a dragon now. Thank you for your service. And she's like, is he okay? He's like, he's still in there. He can't talk anymore, but he understands you. He's there. And then that's the episode. And then without spoiling what's going on, the captain shows up at a certain point, and then the captain leaves. And then the girl chases after him with a gun.
Okay.
And then they go to the Wild West, pretty much. Like, there's a town in the desert, and there's, like, a saloon and shit.
They go to the OK Corral.
Yeah. And another one of the guys shows up, and she watches them have the fight, and she hears the conversation this time. And she's like, okay, well, then I'm going with you, because this sounds like bullshit. Like, she thinks he's lying.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, well, you just saw it. My point is, the show's description does not do justice to it. It's got a little bit of a weird art style, I guess, but if you can get past that, it's totally fine. Like, it's worth it.
I'm honestly kind of sold on your pitch for it right now. Sign me up. I'll get 2 seasons.
Give it a try. It was pretty good.
I gotta say, I'm shocked. I was not expecting this that to be it.
Neither was I when I started the first episode, but I was like, son of a bitch, I'm gonna watch it now. I'm gonna watch the second one.
All right, next, Copcraft.
Copcraft. Let me pull my notes up for Copcraft. DJ.
I have also not watched Copcraft.
Okay, let me explain Copcraft to everyone listening. See, this might be in a way that you might understand. So Copcraft is the Netflix movie Bright. It's also kind of the plot of Gate.
Okay.
So, Copcraft takes place in the city, which is sort of like on the edge of human understanding, and it's where like the magical world starts to intersect there. So there's elves and dwarves and shit in the village, in the city. Okay. This is a modern day show, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Like, there's like cars and radios and guns and vapes and shit.
Vapes.
So it starts with these two guys in a car meeting these other two guys, which what you think is like a drug deal. And they're just like, these guys are fucking late as shit.
They're just vaping.
Well, let me tell you what happens. So these guys show up to do this deal and like show us the money. Like, okay, here's the money. Show us the stuff. And they have a fairy in like a suspended liquid animation in a jar. And they're like, that's a pretty good fairy. And the guy's like, yeah, no, it's a royal fairy. It's very hard to come by. You can make some good shit out of this fairy. And then the guy goes, ha, joke's on you. I'm a cop. And so they have this
sting.
They have the shootout at the end of this sting, and then one of the guys that's selling the fairy hulks out, and they refer to him as an alien. And I don't know if that means like an illegal alien or he's from space.
Man, I wish that answer was more cut and dry in your show.
Well, I can tell you that when you get introduced to like the aliens later, I think it's more like an illegal alien than they're from space, because they're like, he's like, oh, your partner's dead. Take the next day off. He's like, I gotta go find who killed my partner, whose name was Rick. And my notes say Rick's dead, baby.
Is this the show that you said you had a lot of quotes from?
Yes.
Okay.
So
wait, was that a quote? Rick's dead, baby?
No, that's not a quote. That's just Rick's dead, baby. Because this feels like Pulp Fiction when you start watching it. I also wrote fucking J-pop jazz OPs making me feel a red line sort of way.
Ooh.
You'd have to watch it to see what I mean, I guess.
What is this on?
This one was on Hulu.
Okay.
Or that's where I watched it. You could find it on any number of illicit dating sites, I suppose.
I mean, it's not on Crunchyroll.
No, this one wasn't on Crunchyroll.
Okay, well, that's all I need to know.
So the police commissioner is like, "You're not working this case. You're going to meet with a noble. We need you to meet with a noble about this." He's like,
You're
"Why?"
too close to this one.
Well, he doesn't even say it like that. He's like, "Look, man, I knew Rick for 20 years. You knew him for 4. You're gonna go meet with this noble." And he's like, "I don't want to meet with the noble." He's like, You're the only cop I have on the force who's available right now who speaks the language they speak. Go meet with the noble." So he gets on a boat and they drive out to the middle of the water, and then there's just like a fog wall, and another boat comes out of the fog wall, and it's the aliens, which I guess means they're coming through like a portal from another version of Earth or something.
Okay.
It's not super clear in the first episode.
Yeah.
And they're on this big elaborate boat, and then a small anime girl comes off the boat, who's of course they're sort of elf-like, who's their like sort of magical Justicar night cop type, like it's their world's equivalent of the cop. And he says like, "Okay, you guys are partners now. Solve this crime." And he's just like, "I don't want to solve this crime with this kid." And this soldier, it's like they're in an elevator and the kid just is trying to push the button. He's like, "Don't fucking touch the buttons." And he's like, "Don't fucking touch that panel that's the electronics for the elevator." And then another cop gets into the elevator. The kid goes to reach for his gun. He's like, "Don't fucking touch his gun."
What?
Like, the kid is like a trained killer but doesn't understand what a gun is. So they're doing their thing. They're going to meet with a witness. And then all of a sudden they're just like, "This place smells like a wizard." And they're like, "There was a wizard here. Someone controlled by a wizard was here." So
it has that smell. That smelly smell.
That wizard smell.
That smelly smell.
You
It
know,
smells smelly.
Lucky Charms and dust. I don't know. So, all of that to say, I'm going to watch more of this show.
I might give this one a shot,
Like,
too.
this,
We have some fucking shows this season, man.
I wrote down in here, this is just a better version of Bright. Because there's a whole lot of fantasy racism.
Oh.
And it's like, they don't hide it at all, and he says it to the people say it to each other's faces, like, "Is that a fucking alien? I hate those guys." And the alien is standing there, and the alien just like starts talking to him in a language he doesn't understand. He's like, "I don't know what that means." This is at a strip club, of course.
Of course.
But
good.
That's all that I really have written down to say about Copcraft.
I like it. Next up, we got Dr. Stone.
Should I say my line about Dr. Stone now, or do you want to talk about it a little bit first?
Give me your line about Dr. Stone.
Finally, anime is for nerds again.
About goddamn time. Our long nightmare has finally been
DJ, you watched
over.
the first episode of Dr. Stone?
I watched the first 2 episodes at this point, yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you've watched the first 2 episodes. Yeah. I have watched those 2 episodes, and I'm pretty much caught up to reading Dr. Stone as well. Because I got turned on to Dr. Stone like a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, because I remember you telling me about a year ago, and you're like, "Hey, Dr. Stone, get on this shit."
And you were like, "I don't know." And then you watched the first episode, you're like, "Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
This is fucking rad."
Yeah, Dr. Stone, I think when I texted you after watching the first one was, Dr. Stone fucking rules.
This show, I think the term is slaps.
So, Dr. Stone it takes
break
place
it
in like modern day Japan.
No, it doesn't.
It opens in modern day Japan. It takes place at there's a high school where our main boy, what was it, Shunka? Whatever.
I thought it was like Thai something.
Dr. Stone.
Oh, Dr. Stone.
Yeah. Yeah, because Taiji, I think, is the meathead.
Yeah,
whatever.
The show would have you believe he's the main character, wouldn't it? Based on the way this first episode goes.
Yeah. So it's about like, what was it? The first. God, I'm getting so turned around right now because this show, like you said, it makes you think that the main character, this guy's the main character.
I didn't say he wasn't. Go ahead.
There's a meathead and a smart boy. Meathead goes into the science lab to meet the smart boy at the school.
He's like, I'm going to confess
my love for this girl that I've been pining for the past 5 years. And he's like, there's no way you're going to do it. And he's like, no, I'm finally going to do it. Just quit talking shit. I'm going to do it. Then he runs off. And then everyone's making fun of him, saying, like, there's no way this fucking loser's going to do it. He's been saying that for years. And he's like, honestly, I bet 10 billion yen that you're all wrong. I know he's going to do it today. And they're like, why is that? And they're like, because he doesn't lie. It's like, okay, sure, cool. And then he goes outside to confess his love to Girl. And then all of a sudden, a mysterious green light appears on the horizon. And it proceeds to turn every living thing in the world. Humans
and birds.
It's really specific. To stone.
Mm-hmm.
And years.
3,700 years later.
2,100, 600 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyways, all of a sudden our meathead wakes up in a cave completely nude. He cracks out of his stone exoskeleton, and there's like a drip of water that was like falling on him.
Metapod becomes a Butterfree finally,
and he runs out. And he's like, "Hey, wait! Over all these years, there's been like typhoons and hurricanes and whatever that have like washed my body away because I've been somehow conscious because the entire time he's just been thinking like, I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna confess my love. It's gonna be awesome.
This whole show starts with the premise of how part 2 of JoJo ends. It's like, and then Cars stopped thinking.
Except in this case, Cars kept on thinking. He remained laser focused on one specific point.
Not every Cars.
I'm just saying this one.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah, so Meathead runs off to the school to be like, to find a girl's frozen or a stonified corpse. And then...
Do you mean petrified? Is that the word you're looking for?
I like what I said. And then he finds her body encased by a tree and an inscription on the tree saying, like, hey, follow the river south, you shithead.
It says big oaf, but that's fine.
I like what I said.
We have to establish the relationship between these two boys. It's important.
Oh, yeah, so what do I call him? Senku. Senku and Taiji, or Smart Boy and Idiot, and Meathead.
Too pure for this world and the smartest scumbag on Earth currently.
Yeah, he finds a note from Senku saying, hey, follow the river south, you big oaf. And so he's like, hey, I'm going to do this. I wonder who left this note here. Then he's like, wait, it must be Senku because the only one that ever called me a big oaf was Senku. And then he follows the river south, finds his friend, and they're like, hey, welcome to the world of stone. This is what I've been doing for the past 6 months or 8 months or whatever.
Something like that.
Yeah. Because somehow Senku woke up like 8 months prior, and the reason he's still sane after 3,000 years of being frozen in place was he just kept track of time. He just was counting the days as they went on. And he's like, hey, it's this day in this year. And I'm not completely insane.
No, you'll get there if you keep watching. He is, but he was insane already.
Okay.
Like, he's the type of person where being frozen was probably more annoying than an actual problem.
Well, that's what it seems like. It seems like it was just like kind of an inconvenience for him.
Yeah, he had a lot of time to think about what he was going to do when he got unfrozen, is basically what it comes down to.
Well, that kind of goes into what happens in the second episode, but we're not going to really cover that.
I was going to say, now it's important to say, neither of these characters are Dr. Stone. They said who Dr. Stone was in the second episode.
I know they said, because Dr. Stone is just bat guano.
Dr. Stone is soap.
Was that what it was? Actually?
Pretty much.
Yeah, because it makes you clean.
Yeah, the Stone Age
infection.
The Stone Age doctor, soap, Dr. Stone. So
made out of calcium carbonate.
Again, episode 2 shows off another one of our main characters of the series, but
whom I believe to be the antagonist, the antithesis to our main boys.
That's a theory. unless you want to go into the
I don't
second
want to go
episode.
into it. Like, let's take it as episode 1 for this one, just because
Unless you wanna
it'll take a long time.
Unless you want to speculate on things you don't know and I do, which is fine if you do.
I mean, I know a little bit because I remember what you told me about the show when you first pitched it to me, and I was like, that sounds pretty rad. And I'm really, really excited to watch this show. Also, I'm probably going to start reading this one as well. Because, holy shit, I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's really good, and I want to give a thing that we haven't talked about much yet. I want to give this studio full points for that intro, not spoiling things, even with symbolism.
No.
There's a shot that when I heard they were making, I'm like, why? It's a shame they're going to not avoid putting that in the opening. And it's a specific shot of the villain of the show, who I won't say whether or not he's been shown yet.
Okay.
But there's a shot of the villain and something that he does at some point, and like, it's just a picture
It's
until
just
you.
downplayed.
It's just a
right?
picture until you realize the implication of what that means.
Oh.
But like, they didn't show it at all, and I was like,
So it's there. So it's not shown.
no, they
there.
didn't. I was really
Oh. expecting
expecting there to be a shot like in any anime of like,
Yeah.
oh, we zoom into the villain's face and see what they're
It
planning.
shows you what's going to happen in episode 24 or episode 12.
I was expecting a zoom in of the villain and then him standing in front of something, and you're like, wow, that's an interesting something. And then you look closely at what it is, and you're like, oh wait,
Okay.
oh dear. I'll tell you when we're off, Mike.
No, I don't want to know.
It's not that kind of spoiler. I just thought they were going to show it,
Okay.
and they didn't. So you're going to watch it?
Fuck yeah. This show, this is like, I think this is my number 1 for this season. Number 2 is Fire Force.
We haven't got down the whole list yet.
Yeah, there's like,
what it
I'm
is.
just saying. And I think my number 3 is Okasa.
Of course it is.
That's my kind of trash.
No, it's fine. I'm not giving you shit about it.
You're good. Now we just have the kind of miscellaneous part of the list. This is where you stopped.
There was
listing
something I
things
wanted
off.
to say about Dr. Stone still. I have one problem with Dr. Stone,
What?
and it's not a big problem, but I have a problem with the way certain things are designed. And so far we've only seen one example of it, and it's the girl's face.
How they just kind of they have like that dumb anime like.
They have sex doll face.
Yeah.
Let me call it what it is.
Yeah.
She is a sex doll face.
Oh yeah, she's just like lips pursed, just like super fat lips, super round bulging eyes. It just doesn't look like it belongs on a person, even an anime person.
All I'm going to say is this. Strap yourself in. There's other characters in the show with similar faces.
Well, no, what was it? Like in the second episode, they go on the beach and they you see other women and they're like, oh, they're all just sex dolls.
Yeah, not all of them have that face though.
Now all of them have that face, but
There's more
they
than
don't
one.
look
Is
like
the
sex dolls.
well, I mean, Jesus Christ, where's the YouTube channel Primitive Technology when you need it? Stone Age sex toys.
Oh God.
All right, that's the end of the list I made. I know there's at least one more show you watched.
There are 2 more shows I watched.
2. Okay, I only know what one of these are. I think.
One's
Unless there's one I forgot to put
Hakata
on there.
Mentai, Pirikarako-chan. This incomprehensible
Just fucking
mess.
hex me.
Yes. This show is a mess. It is a half show. It's 12 minutes.
Half chub. All right.
It is. Let me just read you the paragraph on Crunchyroll. Whatever the fuck I just said, the title is set in a mysterious shopping center in a town that is like, but not quite like Hakata. In this setting, a walleye pollock roe fairy named Pirikarako-chan rushes about every day to ease the
stop.
worries and solve
Hey,
the rumors
hey,
of
stop.
other food fairies.
Hey, stop real quick. You just said that she's a walleye fish roe fairy. Like that's a thing that we shouldn't stop and address right away. I'm gonna need you to back that ass up and give me a little more context for that bit before we go any further.
I have watched this show. I cannot. All I can tell you is that she is a fairy insofar as she has like a little pink dress and kind of looks like she just looks like your like standard fairy, but she's like the size of like a child, and she has a like talking red jelly bean sort of thing that kind of sits on her head and like is her best friend.
Well, that's
And-
fish roe.
Yeah, that's fish roe, and it's so much that not only is it fish roe, it's also I think her like fairy friend that just can expunge an infinite amount of fish roe.
Okay.
Because it gets to the point where because it's not Tokyo, it's I guess Hakata, and they just cover the entire city in fish roe. Because like, man, fish roe is really tasty, isn't it? Yeah, it's so. I want to share it with everyone, and then they just smear it. They take out their super soaker full of fish roe and just blast the whole
Awful
city.
visual. So can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw what this show looked like the thumbnail of it from looking at the queue.
Yeah.
Is this like Pop Team Epic, or is it a coincidental art style?
Coincidental art style.
Okay, that's all. I don't even need to hear more about the show.
No, there's nothing else to say.
I believe it.
It's garbage. I will not be watching it. I might give it one more episode. Actually, I take that back because I just looked at Crunchyroll and the second episode is called Fierce Ramen War. So that title kind of has piqued my interest.
I mean, they should have started with that.
No shit. Instead, they started with Leave It to Me, Staying Home. Yeah. Also, the only other episode or show that I watched this season is Lord El Melwaz II's Case Files Rail Zeppelin Grace Note.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Now, tell us the story about how you started watching it, but do not spoil the revelation.
So I started watching this show because Eric and I were talking about doing this episode, and I was like, man, all right.
This movie.
Yeah, this feature-length film that we're doing. And we were saying how, like, oh yeah, we're going to watch the first episode of, like, all the shows airing this season. I was like, all right, well, that's a tall order, but I can give it my best shot. And so I was just like, I saw it
Collectively.
Huh? Yeah, collectively. But still, I wanted to put forth my best effort. But
Okay.
So I saw like this show on Crunchyroll's list, and I was like, this doesn't look like anything that I want, because its name means nothing to me. And like I read like the first like half sentence, and I was just like, I kind of skimmed over it, like the paragraph, and I was like, this sounds this sounds stupid. But I was like, one day at work during lunch, I was like, no, fuck it. I'm caught up.
I got more free time than self-respect.
Yeah, I'll start it, and I got like 15 minutes, or no, I got like 20 minutes in. I think I finished the first episode, except for like the last like minute and a half before the credits, and it was like extremely esoteric, extremely like very like full of itself, extremely hard to follow. So it's following like this guy named.
I don't even care. It's following
Lord El Melwa II. So we'll just call him L because it's fucking Stranger Things is out right now. So Lord L, he's the head of this, or he's a member of this like clock magician group that like are at a college in fictional like London, it looks like, and they're all the people in this clock group are all mages, and like just saying like, man, I really hate these guys, I curse them to hell, is actually enough to actually put a curse on someone. And if you could also just set up counter curses, just so like, hey, if anyone ever curses my ass, it's gonna bounce back on them, and then some extra shit's gonna happen. So like, spoiler alert for the first episode, he's like, man, I hate these bastards in this because they never respect me. I curse them all to hell. And then his cat dies.
good.
And like also because this cat was like attached to him in some way, because like he found it in like earlier in the episode, and it dies. because it was a cat that died, it also attached a separate curse to him, and I was just like, what am I watching? I cannot follow any of this.
Now, to be clear, this sounds like a later season of like a Bakemonogatari level of shit, but I know it's not.
Yeah, like I was so far in the weeds on this. I'm like, I feel like I thought it was like that other show. What was it? Commonplace to the Strongest, Ari Furuki, whatever. That show is just like, it starts in media res, and it's just like, okay, that's fine. But this is just like, I felt like I was starting in season 4. And it was just like, without like knowing anything.
And without a hint of irony, you were.
Yeah, so come to find out, I was like, man, this just doesn't make any sense at all. I went to like go read actually read the paragraph on Crunchyroll, and it tells me this takes place during the Fourth Holy Grail War in Fate Zero. And I was like, son of a bitch! This is why it doesn't make any sense, because I've only watched 5 episodes of Fate Stay Night, and that's my only frame of reference for anything Fate related.
I mean, like, context aside, was it good? Careful.
No. I like the main character just because he's like very cynical and kind of entertaining. Nothing else about the show is good.
Imagine my shock.
Holy shit. That show.
Now, we could also talk about shows that are continuing into the season if you want, but there's like 2.
I mean, there's more than
And
that, but
well,
like,
that
counting your borts and whatever.
That we're watching, because we can't speak to things.
What else is continuing?
Well, that you're watching.
Oh yeah, Demon Slayer
would be Demon Slayer, which we're both watching.
Oh, did you watch a certain scientific accelerator?
No, I did not.
I'm surprised.
I'm not caught up on any of the.
Oh, I thought you were.
Any of the feeder seasons to get to that, which I believe that is the equivalent of the Fate Stay show you watched. It's a spin-off to a spin-off.
Yeah, because I think you like looked at it, the art, and you're like, hey, this is the bad guy from another season that I haven't finished watching yet.
He's from the first season of Index, I think.
I don't know.
I didn't watch all the way through to season 3 of Index, so I don't know if he shows up more. But what I do know is Demon Slayer is continuing.
Oh, and Fruits Basket.
Yeah, Fruits Basket is still going.
Yeah, you're all up on that.
And don't say that.
Well, you are.
Don't say that like I'm excitedly watching it. Person who hasn't watched Fruits Basket, I understand that you think you know what Fruits Basket is.
I know. I don't know what it's about. I'm
sure you think it's about clampy boys, and you're kind of right.
Yeah, you're right.
but there's also a seahorse and an evil cat.
Oh, they uploaded the second episode of that stupid Fate Night show.
Don't spike the date down on this recording too bad now. But so, do you have anything you want to say about either of those other than watch Demon Slayer? It's good.
Watch Demon Slayer. It's good. If you're watching Bort,
sorry.
Yeah.
I guess technically JoJo is continuing for like another week.
I am so far behind. I need to watch those episodes that you were telling me about, because like I've read it all, but I would like to see it in the anime.
I would have not said that out loud.
Why?
Because not everyone knows what that is or that exists.
Well, I can bleep it.
That's fine. You ever gonna read Sky High?
What?
You ever gonna read through Sky High?
Absolutely not.
You really should, to get to the good part, which is to the end.
Oh, you mean Sky High? Actually, I looked at it because I lost all my my bookmarks in my phone like a little while ago.
Oh, just jump to the end of Sky High, then just read the last chapter of it.
But yeah,
we should wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm going to finish Sky High.
Do it. Once you finish Sky High, you're pretty much set to finish the series, or you know.
So Eric, what were your top 3 this season?
I don't want to sound like I feel like I might have the same picks as you. Dr. Stone for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Force probably higher than Dr. Stone because I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know what my other top 3 would be. Like unfortunately, I'm in this place where of that list that we ran down, I'm gonna keep watching all but like 2 of them.
What are you not gonna watch?
Lost in Space.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Space. You cannot pay me to watch more of. No, that might be the only one I don't watch any more of. I'll at least watch another episode of Commonplace the Strongest just to see.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I want to get to the part. I want to get to the part where I know for sure it's dumb. Like the first episode could just be directed by a group of chimpanzees in a room.
I'm looking at this list. Most of these I'm probably gonna watch.
You know what? I'll say Copcraft just because I feel like it might be going somewhere.
That's gonna be your number 3.
Yeah, Copcraft with Demon Lord.
Star next to Don Machi 2.
I starred those because I figured those were gonna be the ones we're gonna spend a lot of time on.
Big surprise, you were right.
No, I just know. But yeah, no, my other top 3 pick would probably be Copcraft or Demon Lord Retry, just because those are the two I have. Like, I think they might be going somewhere worth seeing.
Demon Lord,
I could be wrong on both of those.
I just want to know where Demon Lord Retry is going.
And who knows? Maybe at the end of the season we'll check in on a few of these.
Recap.
I hopefully not. I don't want another episode to run this long.
Yeah,
but,
this is a long memory.
Yeah, I don't know how long this will cut down to being, but
I mean
we're almost 2 hours into recording it.
I think it's going to be a good season.
I said many times before the season started that I was like, there's like 2 shows coming out that I even give a shit about. And I said Fire Force and Dr. Stone.
Yep.
And then a whole bunch of dark horses just walked in and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting. I was like I didn't even think I was going to be like excited for Don Machi 2, and now I'm like fuck, I really want to see like where this war goes.
Let me get my warthog kangaroo and roll around in this mud. Neither of us own a kangaroo. We're functioning adults.
I don't know what a kangaroo is.
It's those pajamas that look like animals.
Oh, it's a spirit hood?
Adult onesies.
A spirit hood?
Sure, why not? I don't know what that is.
It's a kangaroo.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, we'll deep dive into probably. We'll come back and check in at the end of the year, and we might deep dive into 1 or 2 of these for its own episode if a reason presents itself to do so. If they go really well or really bad.
Yeah.
Either is possible. So that's.
No, I'm sure at least a couple of these are gonna break bad.
Yeah, that's why I had to keep watching most of them.
To keep tabs on them, make sure they're not up to anything.
I gotta know. Oh shit! I guess Black Clover is continuing too.
Get fucked, nerd.
Oh, dude, I work with some people that started. They're like anime chiclets, like they're newborn babies in the world of anime, and they're watching Black Clover. And
I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say they're anime gum.
well, like someone was like, I can't decide if I should watch My Hero or Black Clover, and I'm like, for my money, I'd say My Hero, but they're both worth it, I guess.
I mean, My Hero's so good.
But then I had a long conversation with someone about Black Clover who hadn't watched it, and I'm like, let me try to explain this to you. And at the end of the conversation, I had convinced myself that I should go back and
really
pick it back up.
Eric, should I watch Black Clover?
No.
Why?
Hey, do you want to watch a shonen that's just a shonen? Or are you already watching My Hero?
I mean, I'm watching My Hero, but
yeah, so you don't need
My Hero is on break right now.
Yeah, that's when My Hero came off break last. That's when I stopped watching Black Clover because My Hero is, I would say, objectively better. But if you need that in your life every week, you could use Black Clover as a tourniquet to stem the flow.
Use it just as something like a stopgap.
We can have this conversation off mic.
Yeah.
We've sufficiently talked our way through everything this season.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we want to add?
Fuck that Pollock Row show.
All right.
I hate it. That show is so stupid.
It's quite an escalation, but that's this episode is coming out in the next couple days. It'll come out within a week of this recording.
Yes.
So is there anything that we want to say, hey, check this out for when it comes out?
What was it? We're going to have coming up on this channel. Currently we have, what was it? Earlier this week we'll be having our 5th episode of Anime Be coming out.
Anime 5 is out, and then
Magentia. Oh, I'll bleep that name.
No, you can leave the name. The name doesn't matter. Okay. Either the week after this comes out, or a week after that, I think the first questionable content will come out.
Probably, yeah.
Because I think these are going to be in the same time slot.
Okay.
Or the same release scheduling slot.
Yeah, so we'll be having more content coming out soon. I say because yeah, you'll stay tuned. I say we have a new type of show coming called questionable content.
If there is, well, we could give a little tidbit of questionable content. It's a show where the two of us and at least one guest deep dive on a question, and I promise.
What a question!
We've I don't know, at this point we've got 3 or 4 of them recorded in the can,
Yeah.
and whoo boy, do some of those questions go some places. We got Ray on the first one, and
Yes.
we'll just not say any more than that. Other than, boy, did Ray almost spit his drink out at the beginning of that episode. All right.
But yeah, stay tuned, everyone.
If you guys had any hot takes on any of the hot takes we had, leave them in the comments. Or if there's a show that we missed that we absolutely should not, that's coming out this season, or, you know, at any point in the near future or recent past, we do have a shitty time machine. It only goes back as far as 1985. Let us know that
Let
as
us
well.
know in the comments, or email us at thetuesdayclub, klub@gmail.com. It'll be in the comments for this video, or you can also reach us at the Tuesday Club on Twitter.
That's correct. We do have a Twitter.
I tweet out every episode whenever it comes out. So
we gotta get some spicy memes on there too, just so there's more.
Gotta give the people something to follow.
Some more activity, some more meat to chew on in between.
Gotta get them animemes.
I could get you some animemes.
I mean, I could too. I'm on the animemes thing.
Yeah, but I got those dank bootleg animemes, man.
That's true. You do got those.
All right.
This is Bakano Mamoru signing off.
That's correct. We are leaving now because it is late. I mean, late for DJ anyway.
Yes, it is like your 11 a.m. Am I right?
Hey, good night, everybody.